A 16-year-old king dared to defy the most powerful emperor of the medieval world. What followed would change the fate of the Eastern Europe and the Caucasus forever. In the annals of medieval history, few emperors left behind a legacy as formidable as Basil II of Byzantium. Known to history as the Bulgar-Slayer, his military campaigns redrew the political map of Balkans and the Caucasus. Yet beyond his famed conquest of Bulgaria lies another, often overlooked conflict, his war against the Kingdom of Georgia. Today we'll explore this significant chapter of medieval history. In the year 1000, Emperor Basil II was stationed in southern of Asia Minor, near Tarsus, where he had spent the winter following his campaign against the Arab Fatimids. It was there that news reached him of the death of the Georgian king David III, who had ruler over Tao Kingdom, a region in the northeast part of Asia Minor in the Caucasus. David had previously supported the Byzantine rebel Bardos Phocas, but after the rebellion was crushed, he was forced to submit to Basil. To avoid a devastating war, he promised that upon his death his lands would pass under Byzantine control. Upon hearing of David's death, Basil wasted no time and marched from Tarsus to Tao to ensure the transfer of the promised lands. This transition occurred without Georgian resistance, allowing Byzantium to annex a significant territory. At the time, Georgia and Armenia were fragmented into numerous principalities and posed little threat to the empire. However, David III's adopted heir, Bagrat III, managed to unify several Georgian lands south of the Caucasus and establish a large kingdom known as the Unified Georgian Kingdom. After his death, his son and successor, George or Georgi I, continued his father's mission. In 1014, just being 16 years old, he recaptured Tao, once ruled by David III. At the same time, Georgi entered into an alliance with the Arab Caliph al-Hakim. Basil II did not immediately respond to these events, as he was deeply engaged in the Bulgarian Wars. These long-standing Byzantine-Bulgarian conflicts culminated on July 29, 1014, in the Battle of Kleidion. There, Emperor Basil II outmaneuvered the forces of Tsar Samuel through clever strategy, resulting in a catastrophic defeat for Bulgaria. About 15,000 soldiers were taken prisoner. On Basil's order, they were blinded, leaving only one in every 100 with a single eye to lead the rest home. It is said that the sight of this horror caused Tsar Samuel to die from shock 2 months later. This brutal act earned Basil the infamous epithet, Bulgar-Slayer. By 1018, Bulgaria was subdued and Basil turned his attention eastward. Victorious, he wrote to Georgi, as recorded by Aristarchus Lestivertsi, "Give up what I granted to your father, and be content with the inheritance of your ancestors." But Georgi refused. According to Yahya of Antioch, Georgi not only refused to apologize to emperor but even secretly corresponded with al-Hakim, suggesting a joint attack on Byzantine territory, each from opposite sides. Georgian king's aim was clear: to drag Basil into a two-front war. When Basil discovered the correspondence, he was furious, yet he kept his plans secret, perhaps to avoid provoking al-Hakim. It wasn't until 1021, after al-Hakim's mysterious disappearance, that the vengeful Basil turned his full attention to Georgia. At 63 years old, Basil personally led a vast army of 40,000 troops, including 5,000 Varangians, departing from Asia Minor. To preserve the element of surprise, he concealed the army's true destination, even from his own commanders, who believed they were marching toward Antioch. The army advanced rapidly and set up camp near Theodosiopolis, modern Erzurum. From there, messages were sent to the Georgian nobles demanding that they come and pay homage to the emperor. Georgi refused. His defiance enraged Basil, who ordered the destruction of the city of Akami. In response, Georgi razed the city of Ohtig and began a strategic retreat eastward, avoiding direct confrontation. Under the command of Emperor Basil II, the Byzantine army had developed a remarkable capacity for swift movement. While the Georgian forces were retreating, the Byzantines crossed Tau and penetrated deep into enemy territory, overtaking the Georgians at a location referred to its sources as Shirimni, a swampy area west of Lake Palakazio, present-day Lake Childer, in northeastern Anatolia. Only part of the Georgian army was engaged in the battle. The rest had already moved farther ahead. The Georgians fought bravely and proved to be a formidable opponent. The Byzantines were repeatedly repulsed. However, their superior numbers and battlefield experience eventually secured them a hard-fought victory. Additionally, the Georgian cavalry was hindered by a marshy terrain, which played to the Byzantines' advantage. Tragically, among the fallen was Lipari, the commander of the Georgian forces. The battle was bloody, and although the Byzantines managed to win, the outcome was far from decisive. A large portion of the Georgian army escaped, received reinforcements from other Caucasian principalities, and regrouped. The Byzantine army pursued them for a time, trying to force another engagement, but failed. Eventually, the army halted its campaign and retired for the winter to Trebizond. Before retreating, they ravaged and laid waste to 12 provinces of Georgia. From Trebizond, Basil began preparing a naval assault on Abkhazia to devastate the northwestern lands of King Georgi. However, at the moment, Georgi sent an envoy and negotiations began. Just as peace was about to be agreed upon, Basil was betrayed by Cepheus. When Georgi heard of the rebellion, he took heart and withdrew from the talks. Basil crushed the rebels Cepheus and Phocas and promptly sent Phocas's severed head to Georgi with a message, like, "I know everything and I do not trust you." Basil marched on Bassiani and demanded the surrender of forts and lands there. Georgi sent Duke Zviad with an army, instructing him to stall under the guise of negotiations in order to buy time and gather forces. But the emperor saw through the ploy, acted swiftly, and delivered a crushing blow. In 1023, Georgi was forced to sign a harsh peace treaty. He ceded David III's lands to the Byzantines and sent his 3-year-old son Bagrat as a hostage to Constantinople. Yet the treaty contained an interesting clause. Georgi retained control over certain churches, monasteries, and villages on the occupied territories. Notably, it also stipulated that the young hostage would be returned to his parents in 3 years. Basil honored this promise, and in 1025, Bagrat was sent back to Georgia. That same year, Basil II died. 2 years later, on August 16, 1027, the young king George I passed away in Trialeti, Georgia's region. He was only 29 years old. In conclusion, on one hand, Basil II, with his successful campaigns in Bulgaria and Georgia, not only expanded the borders of the Byzantine Empire, but also displayed his strategic genius and unwavering determination. His reign marked the peak of Byzantine military power and left a deep mark in the history of Eastern Europe and the Caucasus. On the other hand, George I did everything in his power to preserve the lands of his recently unified kingdom and strengthen Georgia's regional influence. And here we must emphasize one crucial fact. George I was only 16 years old when, in 1014, he launched a successful campaign against Byzantium, reclaiming territories that had belonged to his uncle David III. By 1021, he was only 23 when he faced the formidable 63-year-old Byzantine Emperor Basil II, who led a massive campaign against him. Though the emperor was nearly 40 years older and possessed far greater military experience and power, Georgi managed to hold his ground and safeguard Georgia's independence. While Basil did ultimately win the campaign, it came at a significant cost. Unlike in Bulgaria, he was never able to fully annex Georgia. The nature of this war and the political and military acumen demonstrated by George I leads us to reflect on a poignant truth. His untimely death deprived Georgia of a large-scale political leader with immense potential. And at last, it is deeply symbolic that the Georgian chronicle called George I fearless as though fleshless, an epithet bestowed upon no other monarch before or after him in Georgian history. Please share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That's all for today. See you in the next episode.